Welcome to the Simple Success Podcast, where you've landed well in your search for financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. We'll be coming at you on a regular basis with podcasts, webinars, and masterclasses, together aimed at freeing you from the chains that the financial industry puts on all of us. Most of us don't even know what those chains are, and if I've learned anything in life, it's to not waste time trying to solve problems people don't even know they have. Let's go up to the common ground here. We can overcome, and we will do so. Join me for the ride of your life in a good way.
I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice.
Do your own research.
Consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions.
This show is for entertainment only. Faites vos propres recherches.
Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
Hey, Doubt Dude. Excusez-moi. I am about to get your attention. You always have my attention, my good man. Thanks, but this is a game changer. I'm listening.
You are welcome, de nada, de rien.
It is a welcome thing to be listened to. Yes, and perhaps you can use that to retain my attention. Your 17 seconds are wasting away, my man. So, how's a 1.5% tax obligation on $100,000 in retirement sound? What? But I was dreaming about nest eggs. A larger nest egg? You just said you were listening. I was listening while staring at my phone and checking the market volatility like everybody else. Ah, but you're a podcaster, so that's distracted podcasting. I've heard of that. And I've heard of low taxes. But I don't think that's exactly built into life. It could be. Or you could build yourself the things you want. Like what? Like buckets. Like buckets? Sort of like buckets. A bucket strategy, actually. A bucket strategy? Yes. Is this some joke about where I should put buckets or something? No, not real buckets. A figure of speech, then. In a manner of speaking, it's a financial strategy. Oh, the bucket approach. It's a retirement strategy.
At last.
Humorous as always. So, what is a retirement bucket strategy? Different people break it down in different ways. But as our guest today tells it. You mean Lance? I do, in the second act. That works. So, as he tells it, you were saying, that was me, setting you up to explain. Oops, my bad. Right. Bucket us, please. Will do. It's a guide. It's a how-to. How to divide up the money? That. And how to distribute it all in cash for your benefit later. So it is groups. Yes, short-term, intermediate, and long-term groups. Sort of like a diversified portfolio. How short is short? In this case, the range is about 1 to 3 years of extreme safety. Meaning what? Meaning cash, Social Security, or pension benefits. Sometimes not enough of a rate of return. Oh, those entitlement thingies. Yes, those. Anything you get for something you did instead of something you're now doing. Like acting on good ideas. Yeah, like that, sure. And medium? What is that? How long is it? Medium time is almost perfectly aligned with medium risk. Like CDs? If you're old enough to remember when they paid interest, sure. What else? That's personal. Bonds are my favorite. Although mutual funds can work fine too. Anything else? Yes, in my opinion, preferred stocks can act a lot like bonds, if you want to learn about that. Oh, okay. Then long-term investments? This is where you'll find stocks and riskier stuff. Stuff that could require some serious asset allocation. Stuff that needs a longer period of time to pay off. Right. Or pay dividends, about which there's a lot of spirited debate. About which? About whether to invest in dividend-paying stocks at all, or just hold stuff until maturity. But that's not got anything to do with buckets as an investment approach. Yeah, well, let's see what we've got here. We have a few more options. Oh, yeah? Yep. Like, cliffhangers? Sort of like that. Here, we just call it a bear market. No, silly. We call it
break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level of support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. Great place to start, whichever you choose. Thank you so much for helping us do this for you. And to leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message, depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use just more than your phone for stuff. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there, and it's all easy.
And then what?
And then what?
You know what? What?
More what?
No, my liege, more wealth.
More wealth? That sounds like a plan to me, a real investment strategy.
And also to me.
Oh, please don't do that.
Don't get more wealth?
No, I mean, yes, do get more wealth, or at least more retirement savings.
So what's your point?
My point is, please don't sing it. Don't sing about retirement spending. You don't know enough about what you're doing yet.
Feed me more data and I will learn. I have all the time horizons, you know.
How about if I feed you less taxes instead?
That would be fewer taxes, not less, fewer.
Grammar is not the point here. Your investment portfolio is the point.
But you do like grammar, I know it.
It's true, I do, but I like telling stories and having great guests as well.
Sounds like you're leading into having a guest very soon.
Soon, like today, in fact.
And he'll put us into buckets while he's at it?
Well, not exactly. That's a strategy he teaches, with some real-world examples and stories.
A financial strategy?
Indeed, kind Richard, thou human blood clot.
I love you too, Daniel. And John.
Do you want to know why I like it?
Sure, but I can guess.
It talks about goals.
It does?
It does. This plan enables readers to identify where they stand at present in addition.
So they have a starting point toward their goals.
Right, which should include earning interest on money not invested, as well as lowering their tax burden and building wealth.
I have an idea.
What's that, DD?
Why don't you call him right now?
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
Hello, Lance. Please introduce yourself to us all.
Hi, Lance. How you doing? I know you're wanting to talk about bucket strategies, so give me a little bit about why we should be listening to you today. Convince everybody of that.
The reason I think your listeners would want to engage in this podcast is to pay less taxes. If they have a concern of paying taxes over their lifetime and like to decrease the amount that goes to Uncle Sam, then that's what I'm going to bring to the table. I think we're actually in a low tax rate environment. I think people really, if they get their arms around that, they're like, okay, maybe I should just pay my taxes now if I can, and then get it in an environment that's in the future. I'm not dependent upon Uncle Sam for whatever tax rates are.
Right.
All my money in the pre-tax bucket, I just have to pay it.
Right. Yeah, you have no control.
Right.
In this hypothetical situation, I walk into your office. I have no idea about this. You think it would be a good idea. I might think it would be a good idea. How is our meeting going?
What an individual needs to be thinking of, and if I use the term asset allocation, right, and that generally speaking, right, that's how much money do I have in large companies or small companies or mid-sized companies in the U.S. or international, right? Diversification. Generally speaking, that is what the financial industry talks about with individuals. But what they're missing is they need to be thinking and using the term asset location. Meaning, where are my assets located and how is that location going to impact how they are taxed?
Okay.
And so we want to
by
start
location,
thinking about...
You mean where are the funds in terms of their status, not necessarily physically?
That's
okay.
correct.
All right.
So we want to think about, and there's really three locations that you and I, your listeners, can accumulate wealth in. There's what I would call pre-tax, which I, in my book, use for bucket one. There is the after-tax, or capital gain tax, that is sometimes bucket two. And then the third category as a location is your tax-free bucket, bucket three, which is investments that are not taxable when you withdraw or liquidate them. So those three categories, pre-tax, after tax and tax free is the locations that an individual needs to evaluate. And I have this on my website if they wanted to go and download this Excel spreadsheet, but it helps identify how much is in each of the buckets. How much do I have in pre-tax currently? How much do I have in after-tax currently? How much do I have in tax-free currently?
Okay.
And based on how I'm currently saving, what is that forecasted to be? How much in each bucket?
Okay.
With Simple Success, your name of your podcast, we just want to keep this simple. Let's just say how this works is, if I said, what if I can give you $120,000 of income in retirement, and you only pay $1,410 in taxes? Probably would say, one, is it legal? and two, I would love that, right, if I can do that.
So if people wanted to do more to find out if they would be a good match for you by maybe starting with some of the tools, what would be a good place?
Our company's website, our company name is Lighthouse Financial. That is, the website's www.lhfinancial.net.
And you said you had a book coming out, so more information about that if people would like to get that as well.
Yeah, the book is called More Wealth, Less Taxes, and it will be hitting bookstores November 15th. Pre-order sales. Yeah, pre-order sales are also available now on my website, which is www.lancebelline.net.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Lance. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Sounds like Lance has been around a bit. And as you know, DT, experience makes the best teacher. More growth potential. Of course, your expertise helps me every day. Todos los días? See one every day. I think probably one of the most important things that I've done, while being so humble as to point it out, is to make sure I'm always learning something new. Which, of course, makes you perfect, right? No. So my job isn't to try and be perfect at everything I do. It's to take the mistakes, the failures, and the successes and use them to improve myself. That sounds like a great way to live life.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno civil. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too.
Can I simple that? Por supuesto. Of course. Just simple it.
Please make sure your seat belts are fastened and your tray tables are in their upright position.
And make sure simple is a verb like Google is a verb. So, today's simple solution to the question about buckets, the very one, is to do what? We'll get there. You tease. After we look at just a few pros and cons. Positive thinking. Let's do the pros. Good call. The biggest benefit is the hands-off part. The what? It's where you don't sell based on just what the market is doing part. No market fluctuations worries for you. Oh, the old sheep strategy, you mean. Different strokes for different folks. Some people call it a roadmap for peace of mind, and that's what I want you to think. And the cons? The potential disadvantages? For illustrative purposes only, I mean. The person doing it has to monitor the buckets and move money north to keep them filled properly. And you can skip the worries about a market downturn and fixed income, which often is the middle bucket and not paying a lot right this minute. And let's end with another pro, which starts with a con. Conservative. It's more conservative conservative, at least as a withdrawal strategy. So, a big group of investors is going to want to know more about it. Of course, just because something isn't right for everybody doesn't mean it isn't right for somebody, somewhere. Is there a most important bucket? Could be. The cash bucket is pretty convincing for that category. Why? Because it's your annual withdrawals, your near-term living expenses for 1 year or more. Could it generate any return? If you have it invested right, yes. But that's not the primary goal here. What if you don't have it invested right? That's why we're here. Right. What if you do have it invested right? Are you still better off than having it in cash or cash equivalents? Yes, because it will pay you interest while you wait. Plus, it goes toward having multiple sources of income. That's a desirable thing, DT. But that's another topic. It is, like the famous 4% rule, which we'll cover in 2023. Are there any other big gotchas that you should know about? Oui, monsieur, comment dit-on? Duh, in français. Duh, I think.
Yes, duh, it is.
Let's go with that. There is one thing to be aware of, and it is if the market is in a down cycle for an extended period, a person might have to transfer money from riskier buckets earlier than planned. So simple it. It's not that simple. It can be, you mean?
That is what this whole thing is about.
Okay, right. You have to have bucket one, liquid investments. Everybody has that, even if it's just their checking account. That sounds simple, not like something you'd hear from a financial professional. And then you project into the future a bit, just like with buckets. And you revise if you need to, just like Henry Ford advised us. Who? Henry Ford. He said, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. You can't be serious. We are. I mean, he's not the only one who said that. Anyway, he was talking about business, but more important than that is, he was doing something. Yep, he was trying, but not just trying, he was doing. He found something that worked for his goal. Yes, like bucketing might work for yours. If I practice, which you will, which I will.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
Salut. À la prochaine.
This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Fact Checker, Abraham Lincoln, Script Consultant, OpenAI, Language Consultant, Ever Evolving, Media Expert, Favor Abbasi EK, Psychologist, William James, Rabbit Hole Advisor, Dr. Mark Barrett, Sound Designer, Goodly Amo Marconi, Videographer, Alfred Hitchcock, Inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts and get ebooks and other great stuff. You can send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to actually get links and stuff. And those clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices you hear in our work come from Google, Amazon Polly, OpenAI, and the online tone generator linked in the show notes.
Finally, you can find us on podmatch.com and matchmaker.fm, where we consider guests and guesting on other pods.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams. The sound effects credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore, Canoe CG, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Good Inc. Yes. That's his or her name, all on freesound.org.